Back to the shipping terminal, Staten Island. Making our way around downtown Honolulu here. So this empty container was delivered last week. I think it was used as a staging area for some of the Maui relief. If I'm not mistaken, this was the group that was shuttling supplies by small fishing vessels over to Maui so they could land the supplies right on the beach. Because in the early days of the fire, when the fire had done most of its damage, but it wasn't completely out. It was only 80% contained. During that time, which went on for 2 or 3 days, there were several people on the front line of the fire, kind of where the fire came up to their homes and then stopped. And the fire was controlled in that area, but it wasn't controlled in other parts of Lahaina. While they were still fighting that fire, you had all these people that were inside this zone that were cut off because they blocked all the roads going into Lahaina. And the reason for that wasn't because they wanted to stop people from helping, but the majority of the people just wanted to drive in there to take pictures and look around. The looky-loos, we call them. And as a result of the looky-loos, they had to shut it down for everybody. And so, resourceful people being what they are, decided, okay, so we'll just put them on fishing boats, and the fishermen will bring it to the coastline, and then we'll just chain gang it to shore and get the supplies that way. Just a temporary type thing, but you know, this went on for probably at least a week. And these were the guys that were probably the first to bring in help as far as resources to the people that were right there on the front line of where the fire had hit. Homes hadn't been destroyed, but they were close enough to the fire that it was in their backyard. They didn't have electricity, they didn't have water. If they left, they wouldn't be allowed back in because the roads were all closed off until the fire was contained. And so they just stayed there. This is the group that was helping them out here on this island, collecting supplies and then shuttling it by fishing boat over there. So I've seen this going on the internet and a little bit in the news, and I knew where it was, but I didn't realize I would be picking up the container though. It was like the hub. I think I know where it is, but just based on what I saw, I mean, it might be wrong. So we're down here by the International Shipping Terminal. That organized is this is right down here also. They're called Reuse Hawaii. These people take basically garbage and give it a second life. So if you're doing demolition work, they collect windows and doors and siding. So I saw that logo in the background and I thought it was this road here that they were on, but I'm not real sure. Sign? So I thought the container was right here. I wonder if somebody else has picked it up. Warehouses back in the day when before containerized shipping, the ships would come in, they'd offload it, cargo nets, and then they'd store it in warehouses. The whole waterfront was covered with these old warehouses, just like these here on the left. And this warehouse has been used for a lot of different purposes. It used to be a homeless shelter at one time. I think this is our, I thought it was a 20, but I guess it's a 40. 401, 181, 180. Check 9. Hooked up to this, get it pre-trucked, and then we just take, we're at Pier 1 and we got to go around the harbor to Pier 50. So that's about 6 miles. Alright. What time is it? 1:55. some drivers in the company, it seems like I'm doing something for them almost every day. Not just one driver. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot of relief, but I hope it continues, because I was listening to the radio this morning. They said the firemen were saying the wind was blowing that fire across the landscape from building to building so fast. And when they put a temperature gauge on it, it was like a blast furnace. It was like 2,000 degrees. The heat of the fire, which would melt the metal, I think. So when it was raging, that's what they were dealing with. It's like water evaporates before you even get it close to it. That's another one of the debates is so now we go into rebuilding, which is everybody has their own ideas on how to rebuild after this disaster. And I think what a lot of non-locals probably don't know about Lahaina is Lahaina used to be the capital of Hawaii. That's how old it is. Before Honolulu was the capital, Lahaina was the capital, because of it's on the leeward side of the island. It's kind of a sheltered coast. Doesn't get a lot of wind, so it was kind of an unusual thing. But it's brutally hot. It's like the hottest part of the island. In fact, I think Lahaina means something like brutal or something like that. There's a lot of history there. It's one of the few places in Hawaii where you'll find Hawaiian families that go back five generations. Not too many places in Hawaii where they can say that. So historically it's got a lot of value, but it's also like the economic hub of the island. And so without it, Hawaii's going to be suffering tourist-wise. And so that's the conversation. Do we encourage the tourists to come there, or do we tell them to hold off for a year while we rebuild? The problem is so many people in Maui depend on the tourist industry just for the livelihood. So you can't really tell them, okay, for the next year and a half or so while we're rebuilding Lahaina, you just do something else. That's one of the conversations that comes up. So many local people from the Lahaina area have moved away. Some are hoping that this will be the thing that brings them home to fight for the land again. We'll see. Only time will tell, I guess. Meantime, I'll just keep trucking stuff to them. Portable water supply in the middle of the road. We had the portable water supply in the middle of the road on Saturday night at our place. We lost all the water pressure because of big leak. Shutting off a valve here. Yeah, that's exactly what they were doing by us. The leak was down the hill from us, so they had to go down and shut the water off below us. And as soon as they did that, the water pressure came back. Yeah, we had a huge fountain right in the middle of the road in our neighborhood. A little bit of water drama over the weekend. Yesterday we worked also. We came in and we did the LTLs off the Sunday ship. Brought 5 container loads back to the warehouse. Stuck around and worked on this a little bit. We painted the speakers. Just did a bunch of little stuff. I think I played with the truck for about 2 hours. But then it got too hot. This is that time of year when it's just so miserably hot outside that you can't stand to even be outside right now. The sun is brutal. It's like 88 degrees, but it feels like 95. There's not enough wind. Pretty much have to be in the shade in order for you to be in anywhere close to being comfortable. Yeah, 8th container movement of the day. Empty 40-foot container headed back to the shipping terminal, Sand Island, and it's 2 o'clock, I guess. So we might have time for one more. Yeah, stuck in traffic in the downtown area. This is all a result of the railroad. Because they're putting in infrastructure so that the rail can come through. Before you can put an overground railroad in, you got to clear all the power lines out of the way. And then anywhere where there's going to be a footing for the columns for the above ground rail, if there's any gas lines or electrical lines or power lines, all that's got to be rerouted. Say the average taxpayer in Hawaii is going to spend about $2,700 over their lifetime paying for this railroad. That doesn't even include all the time wasted sitting in traffic while they build it. Less than 2 or 3% of the population will actually use it. I've been living in New York for 7 years, though. I'm kind of a fan of railroads, but I just think there's the corruption that comes along with them is just really hard to take. They can never be built on time. They can never be built on budget. It takes like generations to build them. And then the generations down the road that will benefit from it. Maybe. You can only hope. I delivered that container. That was the last container we delivered on Friday in the self-storage. Two left lanes closed ahead. And we're in a left lane. Oh boy. Oh well. Making our way to the shipping terminal. There we go. Finally made it past the downtown area. There's always 2 or 3 trucks sitting on the side of the road, but you look around, you don't see anybody. It's like, and I'm like, why are these guys working at night? Because there's no way you get me to stand out in the sun and work. take 5 years to build the 20 miles. We're 10 years into it, and so far we've done 15. So, not quite there yet. But it's a subject you hear a lot about if you live in Hawaii. The three things that are in the news constantly in Hawaii is the railroad, the homeless, and the high cost of living. If you know about those three things when you come to Hawaii, you'll be a local. So I think now it'll only take us another 5 minutes. We should be at the shipping terminal. Empty. It had a load. It had like 6 cases of damaged product. We just took it out of the container and put it here. We'll take it back to OS&D when we get back to our terminal. And we picked up an empty container from the bakery and got rid of that empty end. Now we're picking up our 8th movement here. So I don't think this is the container that I saw on YouTube and where they were delivering, the community was delivering to a container and they were holding it. I think this was relief that came from the mainland and dropped off in this distribution so that they could go through it, sort it out before they moved on to Maui. But I don't know. It's above my pay grade. I'm just basing that on the fact that it's coming from this particular shipping terminal. And it's a 40-foot container. though. It's a pretty nice day. It's just a little hot. When you know when it gets nice, right around sunset. Once the heat finally cools down, it gets down into the low 80s instead of the high 80s. The sun is either disappeared. Sunset time. Best time of the day. Sunrise time. That's it, we're shutting it down. Wow, 4:04. I played around too much. We actually got back here a little after 3, I think, about 3:15. There's dust everywhere in this truck. But yeah, I've been playing around with the suspension, which is, every truck's a little different. They use different components. They've been worked on over the years. Different parts have been put on. So even though they're 327, 328, 326, which we're in, they're all exactly the same truck. The keys are interchangeable. When you look at the airbag suspension, they look the same, but they're all little different parts. And trying to find that best ride where you're not too low and you're always cranking down landing gears, and you're not so high like this truck is. It's way too high, and as a result the ride is so violent, stiff. It's just not comfortable. So I'm trying to ease off the airbags, but like I say, the components are different. So you got to figure out. So we're going to trial and error for the next couple of days, maybe weeks. Try to find that soft spot. Okay, air conditioning, lights, engine. I think that's pretty good. We came in at 5:30. We did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 container movements. We drove 136 miles. Got a few things fixed on the truck. It's getting better. I talked to the general manager and see if he could allocate a little extra money for this truck. Put in a new driver's seat and put in new cab suspension. And I said, man, this truck is good for another 2 or 3 years at least, and it's running good right now. It's just, I'm trying to love on it a little bit, get it so that people want to drive it. But we're headed home. We're doing the roasted vegetables and tofu, the usual Monday deal. Nothing, not too much variety in my life. But that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Aloha.